Thank you very much for coming to a historic occasion of the announcement of one of the most significant environmental criminal prosecutions in the last number of years here in Los Angeles County. This is the environmental criminal prosecution against Atlas Iron and Metal Corporation and its owners, who today have pled guilty to a number of criminal counts involving hazardous waste disposal at its facility just on the other side here of Jordan High School. And this historic plea is going to result in the immediate and permanent closure of all its operations that have been on those premises for the last 75 years. Jordan High School has been here for over 100 years, but for over 75 of those years, they've had to deal with this metal recycling plant. And over the last number of years, that metal recycling plant has engaged in a variety of environmental criminal violations that we'll discuss in a moment that has led to its historic plea to these criminal charges today. Now, when people talk about criminal violations, they often think about individuals who are engaging in physical violence against other individuals who are stealing, robbing, or engaging in fraud against other individuals. But environmental criminals are a different breed. Environmental criminals are effectively engaging in crimes against the land, against the communities, whether it's land type of crimes where they're polluting the land, where they're polluting the water, the rivers, the seas, or the airs. These environmental criminals are taking something very important from us, as the example of this case will prove and has proven. And these environmental criminals need to be stopped. What you will hear and the historic importance of this particular prosecution is that we have turned the words environmental justice and gotten them off of a placard, gotten them off of signs and off of bumper stickers, and actually turned those words into action today. Because for the first time in 75 years, this Watts community will no longer have to deal with the hazardous waste being generated right next to a school, right here at Jordan High School. Here at the podium, let me first identify everyone up at the podium here with me. I am joined by Los Angeles Unified School District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho. I'm joined by Los Angeles County Fire Chief Deputy John O'Brien, who will be speaking on behalf of Fire Chief Maroney. I'll be joined by Jordan High School student Andrew Anderson. He's a freshman. He's a member of Jordan High School's House of Representatives. He is the Youth of the Year and a member of Watts community groups. Now, these are the individuals who will be speaking today. But also standing with me at the podium are individuals who made this possible from my own office. I'm talking about the deputy district attorneys who have labored for years to make this day actually possible. That's Daniel Wright and Cynthia Valenzuela. Also joined by the director of Fraud and Corruption Prosecutions, Hoon Chun. But the DA's office cannot have even gotten close to accomplishing this result without the extraordinary efforts of the law enforcement and fire department communities and investigators and scientists, as well as the LA Unified School District and the Watts community, who all rallied together to bring these environmental criminals to justice. With me here today from the Department of Toxic Substance Control is its director, Catherine Butler, and investigators and scientists Enrique Baeza, Dong Lee, Geneva Galman Vincent, and Patrick Shea. From the Los Angeles Unified School District, we are also joined by its General Counsel, Devora Navarra Reed, and from the Los Angeles County Health Hazard Materials Division, we are joined by its investigators, Ruben Garcia, Chris Swearingen, Michael Whitehead, Christy Monchinaga. Also, again, you can't have this possible if you don't have City Council support. And we thank very much City Councilman Tim McOsker. And joining us from his office is Pamela Thornton. And finally, we have also joining us on behalf of Tanya Ortiz Franklin, the board member for the LA Unified School District 7, Charnel Blevins. Now let me tell you about the actual deal that these environmental criminals, Atlas Iron and Metal Corporation, and its owners, Gary Weissenberg and Matthew Weissenberg, have agreed to today in court. This plea agreement mandates that Atlas, the company, will pay a total of $2 million in restitution and penalties, $1 million in restitution to the LA Unified School District, $850,000 to be distributed among the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, the Department of Toxic Substance Control, Los Angeles County Fire Health Hazardous Materials Division, and we're also going to be working with Councilmember McCosker's office to distribute funds to Watts community organizations. In addition, the individuals had to also plead no contest to criminal charges against them. And what I want to do is emphasize how important that is. Very often, environmental criminals think to themselves that we're just going to pay a fine here, a fine there, and that is the cost of doing business. And for all too often, the criminal authorities have not held their feet to the fire. That changes starting today. So the company owners, Gary Weissenberg and Matthew Weissenberg, have each pleaded no contest to 2 misdemeanor counts of unlawful disposal of hazardous waste and 1 misdemeanor count of public nuisance. They will be sentenced to 2 years of probation, ordered to complete 200 hours of community service each, and they've been fined $10,500. But in addition, not only are we going after the individuals, but we went after the company as well. And as you heard before, as part of a plea agreement that the company entered into today, they are going to permanently cease all operations on its Alameda Street property right over behind the high school. They're going to fulfill the Department of Substance Toxic Control's mandated remediation requirements and ensure a thorough site cleanup. That's incredibly important because they have been basically engaged in hazardous metals, a hazardous metal production that has not been properly remediated from that property for years and years and years. So ensuring that they are responsible for that cleanup is absolutely important. They're going to relinquish all rights under the Jordan Downs Urban Village Specific Plan or any similar entitlement for operating a recycling materials processing facility ever again. They're going to immediately remove the container wall on its property in a manner approved by the Los Angeles Unified School District to minimize disruption to school operations. They're going to do something that is rarely done in these cases. They are going to execute a land use covenant restricting the site from being used for recycling, industrial, metalworking, or similar activities. And they're also going to give the LA Unified School District and the City of Los Angeles the right of first refusal if they ever choose to sell this property. This is truly a historic agreement, but a historic agreement is only good if it makes a signal to the community that this is not a one-and-done prosecution, and it's not. My warning to environmental criminals throughout Los Angeles County is pay heed and notice to what is going on today, where we have actually ceased the operations of an environmental criminal organization company, and we have gone after the owners. This is your warning. If you want to continue to commit environmental crimes in your county, this fate awaits you as well. Now let me turn it over to Los Angeles Unified School District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho.
Thank you very much, Mr. District Attorney. I can say one thing. We've been fighting Atlas for a number of years, probably 7 to 8 years. We filed suit against Atlas back in 2020. It was not until DA Hochman was elected and began his service on behalf of this community that we saw this case expedite at an exponential level. I remember the early conversations. I remember the cadence and the frequency of exchange of information between our offices and Mr. DA thank you so much for not only leading, but leaning into this important issue that has beleaguered the community of Watts for decades. I speak on behalf of this school board and this school district. What has happened here for many, many years has been a level of environmental justice, the likes of which we have never witnessed in the history of our school system. An injustice that has come to an end because of the determination, the professionalism, and the courage and the integrity of our district attorney. You listened to the details of this settlement. $1 million contribution to Los Angeles Unified, an additional $1 million to community organizations and reimbursements to the city. But much more than that, the right of first refusal, empowering the school system with the opportunity, the ability to transact at some point in the future something that would be a benefit to the district and or the community. In addition to that, of critical importance to us, absolute environmental mitigation, meaning the cleaning of the site. Let me take you back just a couple of years. For years, nauseous fumes, noise pollution, and projectiles have flown over the containers onto Jordan High School, presenting imminent danger to our children and our workforce. On the very first day of this school year, an explosion, on the very first day of school, an explosion rattled this school, sending students and staff for cover. No community of students or parents, no residential community should be under that level of threat and fear. So today, beyond the immediate closure of Atlas Metals, we are celebrating a huge consequential win on behalf of environmental justice for our children, our workforce, our school, and the entire community of Watts. As DA Hochman said, this requires partnership. Were it not for the likes of Tim Watkins, the Watts community, Tim McCosker, Tanya Ortiz Franklin, the city and the county fire departments, the criminal investigation office and their staff, and certainly the efforts of DA Hochman, we would not be where we are. Again, for years we have been fighting this. The solution came in months after DA Hochman was elected. I want to thank also the efforts of our extremely capable General Counsel, who has partnered with our teams and others in bringing about a solution to this travesty of justice that has impacted so many. So as I close, I want to assure and reassure the community we will do all that we can to honor the community of Watts as decisions in the future about what will happen with that site will be contemplated. And we will use the funds of restitution to Los Angeles Unified to elevate the dignity, the humanity, and the possibility of our children. Unas palabras en español, me siento muy honrado de estar en la compañía de nuestro abogado del Distrito de Los Ángeles, el señor Hochman, que ha demostrado un nivel de profesionalismo, de dedicación y coraje sin igual. Nosotros como sistema escolar ya estamos luchando Atlas hace muchos años, pero no fue hasta el momento que el señor Hochman fue elegido aquí en nuestra comunidad que nosotros observamos acción rápida, acción corajosa. Y es por eso que aquí estamos celebrando no solamente el cerramiento de Atlas, pero también los fondos necesarios para compensar nuestro sistema escolar y nuestra comunidad. Más de $2 millones. Hoy es un día de celebración porque podemos declarar que cerramos Atlas, pero es también un día de celebración debido a la justicia ambiental que esta decisión y esta labor han creado. Me siento muy agradecido a los líderes que están aquí representados, pero principalmente al señor Hochman por su coraje, por su determinación y por su profesionalismo. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, Superintendent Carvalho. And to give you an example, the type of hazardous materials and other types of metalworks that were flying from the Atlas recycling factory to the Jordan High School fields, we have on the table several of these items. And I'll just use two as an example. This is what Superintendent Carvalho was talking about, of the type of metal that was flying from this metal recycling plant onto the field of Jordan High School. Thankfully, it did not hit any student when it landed, but it was joined by other pieces of metal. We have just examples of different types of metal that are on the tables. And it gives you an idea of the type of environmental injustice that was being experienced by Jordan High School, its students, and the entire Watts community. And again, I echo Superintendent Carvalho's thanks to the Watts community, to Tim Watkins from the Watts Labor Coalition, and all the individuals who rallied from this school and the community to make this day possible. I'd like now to call up Los Angeles County Fire Chief Deputy John O'Brien.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John O'Brien, Chief Deputy of Emergency Operations for the County of Los Angeles Fire Department. On behalf of Fire Chief Anthony C. Maroney, I'd like to express my gratitude to Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman for extending an invitation to the Fire Department to join today's news conference. The mission of Los Angeles County Fire Department's Health Hazardous Materials Division is to protect public health and the environment throughout the county from accidental release and improper handling, storage, transportation, and disposal of hazardous materials and waste through coordinated efforts of inspection, enforcement, site mitigation oversight, and emergency response. In coordination with the District Attorney's Office, Los Angeles County Fire Department's Health Hazardous Materials investigators sampled soil runoff at the fence line between Jordan High School and the Atlas Metal Recycling Facility property. Based on the findings from the search warrant and sampling activities, a notice of violation was issued citing significant hazardous waste violations. Health Hazardous Materials investigators proceeded to prepare and refer the enforcement case to the District Attorney's Office for filing. Our investigators testified at the grand jury and also investigated the August 12, 2024 explosion at the Atlas Metal Recycling Facility, which occurred just 10 minutes prior to the start of the first period of the day on the first day of school this year. Of the 21 felony counts brought against Atlas Metal and its owners by the District Attorney's Office for illegally disposing hazardous waste, 12 were cited by the Fire Department's Health Hazardous Materials Division investigators. Thank you, District Attorney Hochman, Superintendent Carvalho, and all participating partners on this important step towards justice for the community of Watts and the students and staff here at Jordan High School. I would like to recognize and thank the Fire Department's Health Hazardous Materials Division's investigators, many who are standing with us today, for all their efforts in making this possible. Today is a reminder of the importance of working with our community members and regional partners to prioritize and preserve health, safety, and well-being of our communities by taking action against businesses that jeopardize public health. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, speaking on behalf of Jordan High School students, I invite up Andrew Anderson, a freshman from Jordan High School.
Hello everyone. My name is Andrew Anderson and I'm a freshman here at Jordan High School. Around here, we say WATT stands for We Are Taught to Survive. And trust me, that's something that we all know too well. For the past 75 years, the Watts community has lived under the shadow of Atlas Metals, a company that has polluted our air, contaminated our soil, and put our health at risk. But despite everything, we stayed strong, we fought, we've risen, and we've survived. And this year we saw a major victory. Atlas Metals has finally shut down, but that doesn't mean our battle is over. The next step is to clean the toxic lead they left behind and ensure our families are safe from these preventable health risks. We need testing, medical screenings, and a real investment to fix what was broken. As a freshman, I'm just starting my journey at Jordan High School, but I already know one thing for sure. The Watts community isn't just surviving, we're thriving. We've seen what it We've seen what it takes to fight for our future, and we're going to push forward together as a community. Because when you grow up in the community of Watts, you learn how to thrive and how to lead. Before I close, I want to say thank you to Councilmember Tim McOsker, Mayor Karen Bass, EPA Administrators Michael Reagan, LAUSD Superintendent Carvalho, and District Attorney Hochman for standing with our community and making this victory possible. And most of all, thank you to the incredible people of Watts for your strength, your heart, and your unstoppable spirits. We are Watts. We are taught to survive. And now we're leading the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for those inspiring words. Often, adults, especially people in my position or the superintendent's position or the deputy fire chief's position, can talk about a problem. But hearing it from the people who are directly affected about it in our future, and the fact that hopefully they'll take today as an inspiration to go out and challenge injustices throughout our society. Again, if that's what today serves, then today has actually served a tremendous purpose. So thank you very much, Andrew. All right, at this point, we'll take any questions that anyone has. Yes, in the back.
In your estimation, how financially able are the Weissenbergs to pay these fines? Number one. Number two, under the auspices of the agreement, are they free to do this elsewhere outside of them?
So as far as their financial capabilities, we believe they are financially capable to pay the $2 million in fines and restitution. With respect to their abilities to operate outside, well, now their company will have felonies on its record. They too will have misdemeanors on their record. The likelihood of them even thinking of engaging in illegal activity in the future, we would certainly hope that this would prove a strong deterrent to that. But it's not just a strong deterrent to the Weissenbergs. It's not just a strong deterrent to companies out there. It's that combination that will work with LAUSD, with law enforcement, with the fire department, with the community to hold these environmental criminals liable and accountable for their actions. Yes.
Knowing the history of the White the past and the filings and the ongoing and everything, is there a time limit for them to do what they're saying they do? Where does it start? Can you have can you tell us a little bit more? Because knowing that,
So while the Weissenbergs pled no contest today, as well as Atlas, the judge put off their sentencing till October 21st. I think in part to make sure that the Weissenbergs comply with their commitments under the plea agreement. So we'll have another chance to evaluate, we'll be evaluating over the next 5 months if the Weissenbergs are in fact complying with the plea agreement, but they have a day of reckoning coming up with the judge on October 21st.
District Attorney, why was this allowed to go for so many years? We talk about 70 years that this was happening.
I can't speak of what happened before I got there. I do know that in the district attorney's office are two prosecutors, Daniel Wright and Cynthia Valenzuela, were pursuing this case. They were doing it with law enforcement. They were doing it with the fire department. They brought the charges well over a year ago. The charges were increased after what you heard about the fire explosion that occurred on the Atlas premises. Why these type of cases take a long time? Part of it is the diligence that you have to bring to actually gather all the scientific information to show that there's an unpermitted hazardous waste disposal or that the waste itself is being stored in an illegal manner. The second part, though, is the political will. Whether it's a district attorney's office, investigators, or even the community, making sure that all the partnership organizations are working together to hold environmental criminals to justice is absolutely crucial. My personal background is that I was an environmental crimes prosecutor well before I became district attorney. I'm very sensitive to both the difficulty of bringing these cases, but also the importance of bringing these cases. Very often people view these as non-violent, non-serious, almost victimless crimes. But when you are victimizing the air, when you are victimizing the land and the waters, you are victimizing an entire community. And not just today, and not just for the next couple of weeks, but for years to come. So I will put a special importance on environmental criminal prosecutions, which is why I send that warning to anyone else out there who is thinking of committing this crime, that we're coming for you.
Could you just clarify the plea deal again? There was some reference to a guilty plea early on in the press conference, but then it's the no contest to the misdemeanor charges.
Sure. The company has pled no contest to 5 felony charges. The individuals have pled no contest to 3 different misdemeanor charges. Those misdemeanor charges for the individuals carry, as part of their agreed upon sentence, a 2-year period of probation, 200 hours of community service, and each individual, in addition to the corporate payments of fine and restitution, each individual will pay a $10,500 fine.
Superintendent Carvalho, in Spanish, ¿nos puedes hablar sobre ese día, el día de clases, cuando hubo esa explosión y cómo fue y el impacto a los estudiantes y a todo el profesor?
Fue un día muy trágico, muy asustador para nuestros estudiantes, para las familias, pero también para nuestra fuerza laboral, porque la proximidad de esta compañía tan cerca de Jordan High School y con los ejemplos del pasado que han ocurrido aquí, han creado una atmósfera de miedo, de preocupación por parte de nuestros estudiantes. Yo me acuerdo de recibir una llamada por la mañana de padre y familia, de estudiantes, del director, muy alarmante. Entonces fue un día muy asustador, muy trágico, que ningún estudiante se va a olvidar. Esa no debería ser la condición que niños aquí en esta comunidad de Watts deberían pasar o vivir. Y es por eso que una vez más nos sentimos muy agradecidos al coraje demostrado por nuestro abogado de distrito de Los Ángeles, el señor Hochman, y la contribución de todas las entidades comunitarias. I'll say one additional thing that was asked of the DA Hochman. You know, everybody has for a long time believed that this was not fair, was not just. We've always had the skill set to address it. I think that what brought this across the finish line was will. This DA, the community entities, the investigators, everyone who you've heard from thus far came together with a plan to do something. Were it not for that mix of belief, skill, and will, we would not be where we are today.
Yes.
So we, on a regular basis, conduct soil testing. We intensified that level of testing when we detected runoff from Atlas metals. And obviously, over the past years, we have contained those areas. The soil across the school has been deemed to be safe. However, you cannot predict the future. Future runoffs, and obviously the amount of deposit of metals, whether we're talking about aluminum, zinc, lead, that were found in areas close to Atlas, adjoining Jordan High, are of grave concern. So on a regular basis, we conduct soil testing. You better believe that with this investment from Atlas, we will redouble our efforts, but also through the general obligation bond that was approved in November, we committed to doing a lot of environmental mitigation, not only in this school, but at any site where we may have concerns specific to pollutants, whether they are generated by companies or natural occurrences, as was the case recently in the Palisades and the fires. Aggressive soil testing, removal of topsoil, environmental mitigation before students or the workforce are restored to those sites.
Just to clarify, so Atlas is closing immediately, but there still will be some movement, but they won't be processing any metals anymore. They'll be cleaning out, or what's going to happen?
That's correct. So Atlas, as of today, is ceasing all metal recycling operations. It will be in a wind-down facility capacity over the next number of months. They, at some point, will decide to sell or not sell their land. They will deal with the Department of Toxic Substance Control for the remediation and also taking down their container wall. And they'll have a court effectively overlooking this because they are due back in court on October 21st. All right. Thank you all very much for coming today. Very much appreciate it.